Okay, so let's talk about what cellular healing and cellular detox and cellular regeneration is, um, especially in regards to self-healing and these healing technologies that are really a birthright. They are innate in every single one of us. We have just been, it's a lot of things, but been conditioned to believe that we don't have the abilities inside of ourselves to heal, to make changes, to be in charge of what is happening in our body. And this is linked to the paradigm that we've been existing in, which is this like victim paradigm, this like victim consciousness that, and the dominator consciousness that has ruled the current paradigm that we are leaving. This is the phase of human development maturity that we had to go through for whatever reason to liberate ourselves and find more freedom and maturity, evolution. But now we're entering into a new phase, a new paradigm where we are going to be having more and more access to these inner healing technologies. It's really exciting, and this is what CHRYSALIS is. I have been exploring and doing these healing technologies for a very long time now. It's been over a decade that I have been dedicating and devoting most of my time to understanding the energy body and the architecture of the energy body and the meridians and how our mind consciousness, our ability to go into the body and communicate with it and alter what it's doing for a while now. It has been my, you could say, full-time job on top of mothering and parenting and on top of taking care of the land that I steward. And so this cellular healing is a radical yes into stepping out of this kind of like dominating controller, like power over dynamic. And our medical system has so much of that, of like, the doctors are right. They don't listen to and I'm just kind of generalizing right now, don't listen to the patient. They have to follow all of these legalities to protect themselves with insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies. So it's not even really based on benefiting the client. This kind of power over and just culture that our society has been functioning in that does not honor, for one, the invisible, so the energetics of existence, and also does not fully um, include the patient, the client, and their true needs for health. It's almost like this takeover. And as most of us know, with the pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies, they are not designed or created to actually help people. Vaccines could be put into this category too, but I'm not going to get into that. You can use your own judgment and your own intelligence when it comes to those things, but we can probably agree on the fact that the medical system is very out of balance and, for one thing, expensive, and so not accessible to everyone, even, and often is causing more damage, more harm than it is actually healing the body. So, this cellular regeneration technologies that are inner technologies is not something, and I am going to share with you a stone treatment, so that is using something outside of you to trigger or activate a response on the inside. But with the stones, with the crystals, they work with consciousness, and so the stone treatment is also activating your inner self healer in the way that the stones are activating the places inside of you. It's almost like the stones are, again, like triggering your cells to wake up so that they can start communicating clearly, functioning better, and your energetic pathways, the meridians, can be cleared out so that you have more of your true essence, your truth, your power flowing through you. And this is going to then be able to allow you to connect into these self healing technologies. Okay, that was a lot, but let's get into cellular healing. Your cells are what makes you up. It's all these little individual parts of you that come together to work together, to cooperate, to communicate, to network, and then boom, this is you. All your cells. I like to say that each of your cells is one of yourself, one of yourselves. So we have all these different parts of ourselves that are existing simultaneously, and that's what your cells are. Um, your cells are constantly going through a process of death and rebirth. They're constantly going through a growth and creation and decay and death, destruction. So when we become our own self healers, we become the creators and the destroyers of our cells. We start to become an active participant in that process. And that is what I call this compost consciousness that we are coming into, where the earth has these composting processes that allow organic matter that has come to its fruition, its completion, to be broken down in the earth back into its raw elements that can then be used again to create something new, to grow a new plant, to, feed the earthworm that poops out the soil. And so this composting process naturally is happening inside of you too. It's happening in your cells. That's the process of your cells going through the death and rebirth. What happens though is, with the recent decades of artificial synthetic materials and chemicals that have been polluting our air, our water, our soil, our bodies, there has been disruptions in these natural processes that our bodies used to just be able to do. So let's keep this in mind, that these artificial substances could be a helpful link in our evolution, because it's forcing us to become mature enough and connect into our intelligence in a new way to become a participant in what is happening to us, rather than a victim, rather than We are a victim to our environment. And we don't deny that we're a victim to our environment, our situation, because we have to be honest with what we're living in. And we are living in a world where we are victims of pollution. We're exposed to it really at all moments of our day, pretty much. I mean, these days, even out in the middle of the wild, wild, there's probably some kind of, something or other. Um, so we remain honest with how things are, that, we are exposed to toxins on a daily basis through many, many sources, because there's even um, digital pollution now. And so we stay honest, but we also say, but it's time for a change. And I no longer agree to this. I no longer want to be stuck in this victim mode that really is just depleting me, that is deteriorating my mineral stores, deteriorating the functioning of my body. I'm tired all the time, having to fend off things, having to constantly do cleanses and blah, 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 blah. So this is what I'm sharing is an opening, a door into a little bit of transforming your experience out of victimhood and into real, true healing. And since we are constantly exposed to toxins, pathogens, things that do affect our health and our immune system and our cellular functioning, we are in a stage where we do have to start putting effort into some of these practices to keep our body as alive and energetically spacious as possible. So, cellular detox is a highly important practice to get into. And you can do this in all kinds of ways. There's all kinds of foods, there's all kinds of supplements, there's all kinds of herbs, fasting, so many things, infrared light therapy, saunas, all kinds of things that you can do for cellular detox. And for the most part, they are all important on some level. The tricky thing is that every single person is at a different stage of their cellular detox. Every single person has a unique makeup, especially in like their genetics and all, and then in their just life history of what they have put themselves through or been exposed to, the stresses, the traumas, all of that, to where there's no, one thing is going to fix it for everyone. And you do have to be careful with detoxing because you can have very strong Herx reactions, very strong die-off symptoms where with the things you're doing to take your body into a detox, it can, if you have a very high toxin overload, which most of us do, and you don't have the training or the knowledge of how to really prepare yourself and support yourself through it, with binders and lymphatic herbs and liver support and all of that, then you could set yourself up for a really miserable time, potentially, to the dangerous point, but more than likely just uh like you'll feel worse, like way worse, and it could even trigger deeper underlying conditions that you weren't aware of that then cause even more kind of like conflict in the body and confusion and makes it even more complex rather than helping. So, That's why I recommend working with a practitioner. I am available for this as well. I have many years of experience detoxing in a lot of different ways, and I'm an herbalist. But in this training, these two practices that I'm sharing are great for anyone wherever you are. Wherever you are, as in wherever you are on your healing journey. If you're a newbie, if you are, have done 100 detoxes, this CHRYSALIS, the techniques I am sharing with you are safe. I even use these with children and are a great foundational base to any other detox you will do. So you can mix it in with any other detox. You can do it just on your own. And more than likely, if you follow the protocols, follow the directions, you will notice a difference in your health, in your well being, in your mental state, and your emotional state. Because cellular detox is a natural process that your body does, that your cells do. However, what happens is because of the artificial chemicals that enter into our body, they almost like trick the system, confuse it, they can clog it up. So, like blocking the process. They can even push damaged cells into getting stuck in this phase where the cells stop performing like the normal repair and instead cause inflammation. And so, you probably know by now that often symptoms that you're experiencing are due to inflammation. Toxins also bind to the cellular receptors and actually alter the messenger pathways, and this leads to this communication breakdown. And that's really what we're hitting on here in CHRYSALIS, is the communication breakdown that has been caused because of these artificial toxins that are causing our body to be confused, to not be able to send signals or receive signals. And so there's this chaos, this overwhelm that happens in the body. And that's that inflammation that starts to happen, that like chronic inflammation. And so you can know that you have cellular toxicity when you are experiencing things like fatigue, low energy, brain fog, poor focus, hormone imbalances, chronic inflammation and joint pain, skin problems, poor sleep, low stress resilience, so that low capacity for stress, autoimmune flare ups, and things like headaches, sensitivities, dizziness. This was such a big symptom of mine when I was going through my years of just depletion, chronic illness, fatigue, headaches. I was getting headaches a lot. Um, so a lot of these things have become our normal baseline of how human beings feel. And this is not how we're supposed to be living. And this new paradigm is going to give us lots and lots of tools, technologies, and opportunities to shift into a just better feeling, more energetic, more alive state of being. And I'm teaching you these things before that big shift, and so you'll be ahead of the curve, and that's so exciting. I just want to plant a seed of this cellular regeneration, because really the cells, they are innately supposed to be in this ongoing death rebirth composting experience. this detoxing, death, decay, releasing the death cells from the body, so there's space for new ones to be created. New cells are constantly being created. But when that process gets stuck, blocked, it's like in your house, if you were just to accumulate things, accumulate stuff, and you are never cleaning out your house, you're never going through things, you're never getting rid of things, you're never um, cycling through things, and you're just stacking it all up in your house, then you're not going to be able to move around much. You're not going to be able to do much. You're going to probably feel overwhelmed or depressed, even, or feel as though you don't have your life under control. That's for sure. So this analogy of your home and it gathering, accumulating clutter, and then you not taking care of it and not cleaning it out is similar to what's happening in our cells, especially since the introduction of synthetic chemicals, artificial chemicals that our body doesn't know how to register, doesn't know what to do with, and they just sit there and bind to things and confuse the communication pathways, and then it causes other problems like DNA damage and damage to organs and all kinds of stuff. And we have these chronic health issues that have been developing, cancers, autoimmune disease, Lyme even. And the detoxification process is blocked. It's not happening. So then there's not space for the regrowth to happen. For one, the body doesn't have the energy because it's not being recycled. That's that composting. It's not being recycled back into the system. And so that's why we feel drained, depleted. And this is the thing, your body has access to infinite source energy. But the thing is that when these processes get blocked, you don't have the space for that energy to move through, and it's almost like it closes doors, it shuts down. And so this is what's happened with that. Like, we have so many parts of our DNA just shut down. So DNA is information. DNA is the data that is stored in you that tells you who you are, how to function, like where you came from. And so much of that has been shut down, and that even goes beyond the development of artificial chemicals, but I'm not going to bring that into this class because this is more about these practices to start this process of self-healing, and also to help you shift your belief system into anything can be healed. And so these practices help you to start communicating with your DNA, waking it up, like literally poking it and waking it up, because it all works on consciousness. And that's what we're going to be moving into in this new paradigm on the earth, is really realizing in big ways how much influence we have through our consciousness. And so cellular healing is about consciousness. And when you clear out the toxins that are prohibiting your body to send signals to where it needs to go, and your body can start having the space for that infinite source energy to flow through you, that's when the regeneration of your cells, they have the intelligence, they have the knowledge, they have it all ready. They have the technology. It's just been blocked. It's just been like shut off. It's almost like a shut off button was accidentally pushed by one of the toxic molecules that came in. That's a simplistic way to look at it, but it can be helpful to just understand these basics of what's been happening in our health and how we reclaim our like reclaim sovereignty and power of our health rather than feeling stuck in victim mode that we don't have any ability or resources to change our experience. Because the medical system sadly doesn't have the answers. There's many people who are trying, but they just don't have the answers because we're on the brink of new ways of healing. And it's going to be with your consciousness. So we're going to get into that in these next few videos, and I'm going to teach you 2 of my favorite self-healing techniques. One is a fluorite stone treatment that's on the body. So you will need fluorite stones for this. I sell them in my medicine shop if you want to get them from me. If you don't have fluorite stones, you can do this with gravel that you find in your driveway. But fluorite is extra potent with the way it is made up, the way it's formed, and what it can do to flush the energy body of buildup. And then I'm going to teach you what I call my cell meditation that I have used for over a decade now to heal me out of chronic illness and autoimmune flare-ups. So, I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy the medicine teachings.